You're listening to Tripod, the Tricycle creative podcast, created to help entrepreneurs be better marketers. Each episode features news, tips, interviews, and commentary from the worlds of marketing, media, and, well, miscellaneous. Now, here are your co-hosts, Ross Erosion and Chris Slezak.
Episode 3 of Tripod. Episode 3, The Phantom... No. Episode 3, Return of the Jedi, and the Wookiee to my Ewok. Chris, hello. Wow. Glad I picked... Yeah. I didn't know you could actually do that impression, so I'm glad I did not call you an Ewok, because I don't know what you would have done there.
Also, in my head, I thought you were going to go with the Phantom Grimace, which I thought would be great, about the ghost of the McDonald's spokesperson.
I wouldn't even know how to go there. If you haven't already tuned out, I would ask that you please be sure to subscribe, like, and comment or rate on whatever platform you are listening to us on. Apple Podcasts being the largest one. So if you're listening to us through the Apple Podcast app, please subscribe and like and give us a rating and a review. We would really appreciate that. And now I can officially say we're on like everything. We're in the Google. We're on Spotify. We are in Stitcher, Apple Podcasts. I feel like I'm missing one in there, but we're pretty much everywhere now.
You have to actively avoid us.
You have to. If you're not listening, it is 100% intentional, because now we're just forcing it on you.
Right. It's like the digital equivalent of seeing me on a sidewalk and crossing the street to avoid talking to me.
Because you have the boombox where you're blasting our show out of.
Yeah.
So you're just, I'm good. I don't want to. I know that guy. I think I went to college with that guy. Ugh. Let's cross the street. So how was your week? I believe your papa was in town. Am I correct?
Yeah, you are correct. My papa was in town, and when he comes in town, projects get done around the house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So we
What did you do?
put up a new fence in the corner of my yard. Like it was falling down before. New fence, not falling down now.
Wow. Our fence is in crappy shape. Why couldn't you loan your papa out to us?
You'd have called me. Should I start like a new business? Should I start my own small business? It's called like Pops for Hire, something like that. Just sell my dad out to other people to do chores.
But just don't tell him. But just collect money. But don't tell him that like there's payment involved. Just say, hey, Dad, I got a friend over here. He needs some help. And just like drive him over there. But just don't let him know at any point that there's any sort of money changing hands.
Yeah, I think the slogan for Pops for Hire is going to be, just happy to help.
With a guy with like both hands up and a shrug.
Right, and there's like a hammer in one hand.
And a hammer, yeah. Just
happy to help. Pops for Hire.
Well, awesome. Well, good. Were there any, when someone visits Austin, are there set places that you take them?
Yeah, I mean, certainly restaurants around town, you know, Austin being the food city that it is, but I like to take them to old Austin haunts. We went to Evangeline Cafe for some Cajun food, and my favorite restaurant in town, the Texas Chili Parlor.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Potential future sponsor? I don't know.
I would love to be sponsored by the Texas Chili Parlor. Lifetime supply of chili.
Just give me homework. Fantastic. All right. So I'm going to work on that. That'll be my homework assignment to get that sponsor. And, without further ado, why don't we go into our first topic? It is going to be about marketing. Instagram. You're on it.
I'm on it.
You're on it. I'm on it. People are on it. It's a big deal. Facebook loves it. They bought it. They made billions with a B on it last year. Well, there's a beta feature. Well, it's called it's enclosed beta. And only like these major brands supposedly have it. So major brands being Adidas, Burberry, H&M, Texas Chili Parlor, Nike,
all the
biggies. Okay. You can actually purchase things directly in Instagram without leaving Instagram. So it's going to have its own kind of e-commerce platform. And it looks like what they'll do is they'll take a small fee, and I think maybe even add like a PayPal option to pay. But since oftentimes Instagram and Facebook accounts are tied together, you'll have a card on file, blah, 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 blah. What do you think about that?
I think I like it. It as long as it's easy to navigate. Sometimes I feel like Instagram tries to shoehorn everything to fit into its little its little formula of how it's displaying everything, which doesn't always work. A lot of swiping back and forth and getting lost in where exactly I am in Insta space.
Where am I? You're between dimensions.
But I'm not, it's great for business. I feel like it'll make it a lot easier for me to make rash decisions and mistakes.
Man, that's the thing. There are so many. So are there any, favorite or meaningful or brands that you follow on Instagram?
You mean like corporations?
I mean, they don't even have
not
to
just
be.
not just like meme accounts or anything.
No, let's just say accounts that sell something, right? They don't got to be big ones, right? Because I follow some definitely super nerd ones, like acrylic pins. That's like my Achilles heel. Sure. I follow so many of those accounts, and one of them, actually probably multiple of them, but one in particular, he's always doing like 80s acrylic pins. They just released like a Back to the Future set, and I swear if there was a click to buy in there, ooh doggy.
Most of what I follow is as far as companies and whatnot are usually like drum companies. Some of them small, some of them big. So yeah, I mean, I imagine if there was like, hey, here's a new pair of cool drumsticks, I might be like, yeah, sure. Click of a button. Yeah, I can send those to my house.
Oh, take them.
There's like a local artist. I think he's local. I don't know. He's an artist that I followed that sometimes does limited runs of prints. And, he'll only advertise it on Instagram and be like, 50 prints available, order now and you can get one. So if I didn't have to leave the site, if it just let me buy that right there, I could see that being pretty
well.
Successful.
I feel like I'm going to end up with a lot more Mondo stuff in my house because of this potential integration coming. They haven't said when they're going to roll it out to smaller brands, companies, that kind of thing, or even if, but I have to think that it's going to, particularly if they're taking a small percentage, that's a volume game right there, and I think this kind of also the tie-in and the thing to think about, if you are a very visual small business, is starting to think about also product photography stuff. Like if Instagram now becomes a very easy and very turnkey e-commerce platform, thinking about the photos of your particular product or even service, I have to think this will probably be driven very specifically to product fulfillment, not necessarily to services, at least to start. But I think, you got to start thinking about getting some good, product photography.
Yeah. And, I'm always torn on things like this with the business side of these social media platforms creeping in, because on the one hand, like Instagram especially has been really good lately with targeting me with things that I want but can't afford, but would like to afford. And so I do feel like if the easier they make it to buy, the more dangerous that would be. But at the same time, like I don't love the idea of these corporations muddying my waters where I'm like, oh, here's my old roommate's cat, and here's my coworker doing karaoke, and then also here, do you want to buy a pair of $300 boots? And I'm like, yeah,
used rake for sale.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does, it kind of is not what I'm there for. I'm not on Instagram to shop, so I don't necessarily need Instagram to be so consumer friendly in that way.
Yeah, I mean, we can't have fun anymore. Let me just say that. Right? Yeah. I mean, this is the reality, right? Social media, when it first started, was like fun, right? I did it way too much. I tweeted way too much.
You're talking back in the day when you had to have a college email address to get on Facebook.
Yes. I just missed that. But even like right after that, right, where it first opened up to, but like, like it used to be fun before you could have a business page. I feel like I'm shooting myself in the foot considering I'm a digital marketer, but nonetheless, it used to be fun. We can't have fun anymore, folks. Or I guess, listen, that's a negative. I don't know if I want to put that in. That's pretty negative. Let me rephrase that. How do I rephrase? I just think it's so different. I definitely hit a wall where I was like, I particularly with Twitter. Sorry, Twitter, but I was like, I think I just want to like live my life and not keep commenting on my own life.
Yeah.
There's a balance there.
Or if you want to comment
maybe this will
it.
balance it out better like maybe this will, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, for me, it's like, it's taken all the fun out of like, I have to watch what I say now, I think when Facebook started maybe, or even Twitter, like you could, and and this might be a personal problem, I could just say, forget it and say whatever I want.
This isn't a podcast for your personal problems, Chris. All right.
But yeah, it does feel like, well, now everybody's here, and now I've got to be on my best behavior, because
I just saw this. Oh my God. And I wish I'd read, I have the article bookmarked. I love Pocket, by the way, getpocket.com. They're awesome because there's so many things that fly in front of my feeds that I want to read, and then I save it for later. And that's what Pocket does. So shout out to Pocket. Thank you. But one of the things I did for that, which I have not read yet, but I saw the headline, was with Catherine O'Hara. Are you familiar with this actress, comedian?
Yes.
She's amazing. So. And the headline I saw, or at least the excerpt that the person who posted it put, was something that they were saying, hey, there's a lot of people out there who, are constantly, like minding their image and watching what they're saying. And she said, well, they got to show up sometime, don't they? And I'm just like, word. I mean, I mean, that's really what jumped even into doing this podcast, is just like, there's something to be said. And I know, listen, he is like depending on who you ask, he's definitely a genius and influencer, which I think he hates that term, but like a great marketer, Gary Vaynerchuk. And, it's all about like authenticity, and I think there's something to be said for, obviously there's still some rails that you got to put up, but he's got to be you, man. And
do you think that's what maybe makes brands that come on social media? Is that the difference between a good one and a bad one? Do you think, whether they're being authentic or whether you can read through it and you could tell they're just trying to be cool, and it's that, Steve Buscemi meme of,
hey,
hello,
kids.
Fellow kids.
Hello,
yeah,
fellow
like,
kids.
because that's more often than not the feeling I get. But I think it's come up before with like the Wendy's Twitter, where they're doing their thing and it hasn't stopped them, and it's still working well for them. I think
not only is it authentic, in the Wendy's case, but like it's consistent. It's consistently authentic, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, it just seems like, whoever or whatever that team or whoever that person is, or whatever, that voice kind of directive is, it's very good. It's very good. And I think there's something to be said for not only being authentic, but again, being consistent.
Right.
And I would say there's something to all. I mean, maybe Wendy's kind of bucks this, but I would say there's kind of also something to being. I don't know. I'm a believer in somewhat being like inclusive, but you know, I don't know, because I say that and I don't. Being authentically mean sometimes. I guess that it works for them. It works.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, being authentic in whatever you do and putting that out there, I think is, hopefully going to get the people that you want, because the people that are attracted to you and your business and your online personality and your brand, the people that like that authentically are going to be people that you want to have as your customers.
I think in a lot of ways, particularly for small businesses, it just happens to start off being authentic because it's not being thought about. It's just, hey, I'm one or two or three or whatever. I'm a small team of people. And for what it's worth, they may not even, have done the due diligence of like coming up with a voice, and they're just, no, here I am.
Right.
It doesn't always work, but sometimes it works,
Right. It's just me. What else am I going to be?
Yeah, exactly. And, for me, that was kind of like, the corner I turned. It's like, I don't know. For me, it was kind of like, well, if I didn't go into business for myself to be myself, what the hell am I even doing this for? I'm going to mix it up now. We're going to go to the miscellaneous topic second. Oh, I didn't even tell you.
I'm not even prepared.
You're surprised.
I still have my towel wrapped around my head. I was not expecting company so soon.
Yeah. I don't know. Why the hell not? Episode 3, let's get nuts. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. So I yield the floor to you.
Okay.
How prepared do you need to get to do this? What
no,
are you pulling Are you pulling up like a second laptop and like do you have like a dot matrix printer beside you printing out in a flow of information?
You got a ticker tape. Yeah, you got ticker tape coming out. I got Morse code happening. You know that scene at the end of Independence Day where they're all sending Morse code across the world to each other? It's like that.
Well, this is your Independence Day, so fly away, my friend.
My topic today it really has to. It sort of ties in with what we talked about last week, with not relying on social media and social services and online software that you don't own, because you never know when it might go away. And so for me today, I want to talk about the fact that Google is getting rid of their Inbox app, not the Gmail app, but the Inbox app, which operated differently and, in my mind, better. I preferred it. It was a lot easier of an interface for me, and it had a lot of cool ways of automatically filtering out emails so that I could swipe them and ignore them all at once and pretend like I read them, and it made it easier for me to go, I don't need any of you. And I like that, and I'm sad that it's going away. And yeah, I just wanted your opinion on sort of, I mean, I don't want to necessarily rehash what we talked about last week, but just, not becoming so heavily reliant on anything really, because you never know when
rely on no one.
I mean, because you never know what's. I mean, if we record, not to get behind the curtain, but we chat via Skype, and it would certainly be annoying at best if Skype was like, you know what, no more.
I think what we could do is, getting back to the Morse code thing, we could just do the show via Morse code and record that.
Oh, that's a great idea.
People would love it. It's kind of like a homework secret message thing. Let's put a pin in that for a future experiment. We'll do that. Probably the most downloaded show. There probably already is a podcast that does that. Let's just also be honest. There probably is a Morse code podcast.
Oh, we could definitely do like some direct mailing and make like a one sheet that's got like the Morse code breakdown, and then advertises the podcast as the Morse Code podcast.
I mean, I thought this podcast was involved. This now it's really involved. Okay. The topic at hand, Inbox. I used it. I really liked it. Chances are, if there's an app out there, I've probably used it. I use the hell out of stuff, right? It's one of the things, like, in some of my previous roles, I was always brought on to be a beta tester because I would always like figure out the way or the use thing that would, it's like, that kind of breaks it or doesn't really work. I really liked Inbox. The good news, as I told you earlier today, when you frantically texted me and I could hear the tears through the text about it going away, is that they've brought in a lot of the features from Inbox into the Gmail app. So that's good. And it kind of feels somewhat nefarious because you wonder how long they were going to support both of those anyways. And if Inbox wasn't just kind of a way to find these, I mean, kind of, I'll say super users, but these like high, these Gmail users and test some of these new features. Cause there's a lot of them again, now inside of, Gmail for sure. Now this is a little different than some of the marketing stuff. This is almost like a bigger hit because this has to do with just like getting shit done. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of a bigger blow. I can only speak to the tools that I use that I really like. I mean, I'm an all Mac kind of platform system user. I really like Spark email, which has a lot of the features that, again, I believe they have pulled from Inbox and now have in Gmail, like snooze emails or remind emails. So like, or delay send emails. Because I'm rounding the corner on probably taking up some of the 4-hour work week stuff, Tim Ferriss style. And the nice thing about like send later emails is just great because you can write them out and schedule them to go and be sent at a later time in the day or a week or whatever. And then Spark also lets you set a reminder. So, if I send an email to someone and I can set a reminder and for like a week out, and if there's no reply, then I'll get a reminder on it. I'm a lean in emailer. I suffer no fools when it comes to responses. So that's a nice thing to get reminders on when I haven't heard back from people. Yeah, it's a real, I don't know, man. It's a bummer when stuff like that happens, particularly when it's something that you really love and use.
Yeah. And I'm maybe the opposite of you when it comes to apps and how to best utilize them. I think you're really good at utilizing like all parts of the buffalo. You get in there and how you're using it to its full potential. Whereas honestly, for me, a lot of the reason I liked Inbox is because I had a couple of emails tied to that one. I had a different email tied to my Gmail app, and I didn't have to switch around. It was my
I don't even know how you live like that.
I know. I'm a monster. I had my work email tied to my Gmail, so it was easy to avoid work emails when I didn't want to look at them. I just didn't open that app. I could check all my personal, all my other side emails. I could check all those on the one app and not even come close to my work email. It's on a totally different page of my phone. So, to that degree, I'm like, great, now I got to tie that back in. Now I risk looking at work emails over the weekend.
You're a silly goose. You can do with that. You can pull them into your Gmail. You can set up a filter. You set up the filter to mark them as read and then put them into a folder. And then you can do the same thing. You can just pop in and look at them when you want.
Well, see, this is why I have you.
We need some quality time together so I can walk you through this.
If you could just follow me day to day and watch the asinine ways I go around backwards to use things. You'd be appalled. But I bet I'm not the only one. I bet there's plenty of other people.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one at all. And I think people, but to that end, everyone works differently. I don't know. I have a sickness, like getting off on productivity. Like it's just, I just can't. This is why when I was starting the business, everyone was like, don't worry about it. You'll figure it out. We know you. And I didn't believe them. I didn't know. But, I mean, I just can't sit still, and I can't I don't know. It's the hardest thing being an entrepreneur is taking the foot off the pedal for me, but when you find those right tools, like if Spark emailed me and was like, "Hey, we're shutting down shop," I would be right back where you're at. I would text you and say, "Oh God."
Oh, but the difference is you would find another one and you would have so much fun learning the ins and outs of the next one.
Oh my God, you have no idea the love I had for setting up the integration between the Slack and all my other systems.
Sure.
It was this is a dream. It's just like, it was like vacation. It's like a real dream for me. I just love it. I love finding ways to like integrate systems and stuff like that. So, but I'm very sorry for your loss.
You know what? I imagine that I will, I think I'll manage.
Well, like I said, we're overdue for some quality time anyway. So I'll throw you an hour or two pro bono. How about that?
You won't even be like that. It'll be like the scene in Ghost, only you'll be behind me, like going through my phone, showing me how to use email.
I always tell people you're the Demi Moore to my Patrick Swayze. So that does make sense. It really brings it home. Item number 3, closing out episode number 3. And before I get to it, again, a kind request to please subscribe and rate and like and comment on our podcast on whatever platform you are on, but particularly on Apple Podcast. Everything seems to kind of drive through Apple Podcast. And I feel like, I haven't looked this up, but I think you do need like a minimum of X amount of reviews before they start showing reviews. So get out there, folks. Review away. And now we come to the nerdiest topic. Oh God, why did I end on this one? After saying the reviews, people are going to be like, I was going to review, but then they got to that last subject. It was too nerdy. So this is our media topic, and it is very disruptive, which is why I wanted to bring it to the table. We cover marketing. Your topics oftentimes will bleed into the marketing ecosphere. This is media, so this has to do with the industry as a whole. And this past week, Google unveiled their new cloud gaming service. It's called Stadia. I think that's how it's pronounced. Stadia. And here's the thing about it. It's all streaming games. So they're streaming games from the cloud to Chrome browsers, Chromecast, and Pixel devices. This is like crazy. And they showed this feature where, and YouTube is going to be a huge part of this, where someone could be watching someone play a game on YouTube. They could then click a play now button, and the game would just launch.
Huh.
And Google is saying it's going to support, or it expects to support, let me see what they wrote here, 4K at 60 frames per second at launch over an internet connection around 30 megabytes of bandwidth. And then it's planning to support an 8K resolution and 120 frames per second in the future.
Couple of things.
Yes.
Number one, I don't like it when you right out the gate don't know how to pronounce the name.
That
seems like a real stumble to start with.
Fair point. It's probably something super smart, though.
Right.
Yeah.
That aside, what kind of games are we talking here? I mean, is this Tetris or is this Fortnite?
Tetris at 4K, man, 60 frames per second. You're not going to know what to know. You're not going to know what to do with that square cube. All right. You're not even going to know where to put it.
If it's all browser games, I mean, are we talking like,
no. These are games equivalent of and equal to PS4 and Xbox One games.
But through the browser.
Yeah.
Is there a separate controller that I'm going to have to purchase for this?
So there is it does have a controller. And I believe it's like it's a wireless controller. So there is a separate controller.
And I'm assuming like a subscription fee or something, since there's no console to buy.
I don't have that in my notes. Let's assume that is probably a thing. Or what they're going to do, because YouTube is such a big part of this, and I mean, without looking at or knowing the data, but I think anecdotally, their attempt to do like YouTube Red and the subscription YouTube thing is kind of a stumble. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I really don't feel like that's been like a massive win. Maybe what they'll do is they'll then put this into that, like YouTube, the YouTube paid thing would include this. That could sweeten the pot, I think, potentially.
Sure.
How much do you think? How much would you? I mean, how much would you? Yeah, I mean, and also, I guess I don't have this in my notes, but the question of, do you pay for the games or do you just pay for the service? Right.
That definitely makes.
Do you pay for the album or do you pay for the Spotify?
Yeah, because I was big on browser games. I like a lot of just one mouse, one button.
Mm-hmm.
Easy browser games that are just sort of time wasting.
Mm-hmm.
I got a PS3. I'm playing Red Dead.
PS3 or PS4?
What did I say? 3, 4.
You said 3.
I've lost count. I don't know.
You've been playing that on a 3? Wow.
The good one.
That's
I got
impressive.
the good one. Whatever.
You have the newest one, but not maybe the newest one. The last newest one, but not.
I got
the
whatever
newest
one I'm playing Red Dead on. Whatever one.
Fantastic. Perfect.
Whatever one Santa brought me.
All right,
is
Grandpa. All right. Whatever one you got. Got it. No.
But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I kind of like this because but
it gets back to when we were talking before on a previous episode about like live video, that it's got to be easy to throw up onto your TV.
Sure.
Because how are you going to play with a controller? I mean, I'm sure the phone, if you're playing on your phone, would maybe have, I don't know, but like, you got to be able to fling that, fling it.
I imagine
up
if
to
anything,
your
you might
screen.
have to opt out of streaming it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It might just be that everybody's streaming at all times. You can just jump in there and see who's playing what. Like you're walking around an arcade. You're just looking over someone's shoulder while they're dropping quarters in.
I mean, that's kind of what we have here as a somewhat digital equivalent when you're talking about Twitch, not Stitch, as you previously aforementionedly called it. I mean, that is the modern day equivalent to just get everyone gathering around when the local kid was going to get the high score on Donkey Kong, you know?
Yeah.
It's just you got a lot more frames per second. I don't think Donkey Kong was 4K.
I mean, if anything, I imagine without having seen or knowing anything about any of this, I can't even remember what it's called.
It's called Stadia.
Stadia.
You have to say it just like that.
I imagine already that there's like, the homepage is just whatever game you're looking at. They probably got live feed. You can just jump right into like whoever's got the high score on that game, top player right now. You just jump right into their feed, at all times for any game that they have. But yeah, before I can make a judgment, I'd have to see what kind of games we're talking about.
Knowing as little as you do about this particular topic, riddle me this. How many teraflops of power do you think it's going to have? Go ahead and answer that, smart guy.
He'll never get 4 teraflops?
I'm an idiot. Hey, everyone. This guy doesn't know anything. What? Sorry. I was talking to some other people here.
You've got people looking over your shoulder.
I got people watching me do this podcast. Yeah. They're it's big.
So this is a game to you, is what you're saying?
No, not at all. This is professional. One of the compliments actually I did get on the podcast is that it sounded professional, which led me to think, are you listening to the right podcast?
It sounds professional. It isn't.
It
sounds professional.
Sorry. Listen, stop trying to avoid the question. All right, friend. You said 4 teraflops.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. That's like what your PS4 is doing. All right. This is claiming it's going to deliver 10.7 teraflops of power.
That's so many flops.
That is at least 6 more flops than PS4 and 4 more flops to the Tera of an Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
So just think about that.
Do you think, I mean, are consoles in any danger, though?
I don't know, man. This is pretty big. I mean, now here's the irony. Let's get back to the what we just talked about. Is this just a tease? Is Google gonna launch this and then cancel it?
Right. They already stole. They stole.
Are they gonna
inbox
inbox this?
Me. Yeah.
Are they gonna inbox this? Huh? Because I'm not dealing with that if that happens.
Right. How many hours am I gonna put into a
Nadia
escape the room puzzle game before I find out that I can't get to it anymore?
Oh, we stopped supporting that platform. We're gonna kill that platform off.
Do you think is this going to be in direct competition with sites like Steam, and
so what I saw is that I think when it comes to things like this in Google, they're smart in that they are trying to and are in discussions with development studios and platforms even like Steam to figure out ways that they can I'm not going to necessarily say work together, but maybe coexist is a better way to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I think it is kind of a direct competition to Steam. Steam is not only a platform to play, but also a platform to publish through.
Right.
I can't imagine Google wouldn't want to be in on that.
Yeah, for sure. I would think they absolutely would.
Yeah. So yeah. So like I said, I wanted to bring this up because it feels like it's going to be just disruptive to the gaming industry, which is an industry with $1 billion industry for sure. But how much? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say it kind of ties in to me the same thing with a lot of social media now, which is there's so many things to choose from. It's hard to sometimes find an allegiance with one. You know, they all have their ups and downs. Maybe you like taking pictures, so you're on Instagram, but on Instagram it's harder to, just sort of get out a random thought like it is, like you can on Twitter. And I guess a lot of it's just personal preference, and I imagine this is what that'll boil down to as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it'll be curious to see how they envision a pricing model on this. Again, is it only subscription? And if it is subscription, how does that work? Like, is it subscription you play unlimited games? Is it subscription you play, you play 5 games? I don't know. I have.
Does it work on your, maybe you said this, does it work on your phone? Is there going to be a whole mobile section that I play through Chrome on my phone?
Have that. Here, let me look. Let me see here.
Or I guess it'd probably be a separate app, I would imagine.
I would think it would probably make sense that it would be, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing that Google is pretty thoughtful of, though. If this is going to be really heavily integrated into YouTube, it won't be. It couldn't be a separate app. It'd have to be built into YouTube in a way that when you're using the YouTube app, you could use it. I would think,
I just can't imagine them going all in and not having some form of a mobile version in mind, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I play mobile games on my. I think I do more mobile gaming than I do sitting at home.
I mean, you can't do anything now and not think about mobile. Mobile traffic is like it is overtaken, if it hasn't already overtaken desktop traffic.
Sure.
I mean, that's the thing that's so weird now, even when you're going into designing a website. I mean, you got to think mobile first, desktop second.
Yeah, what am I going to do? Get up and go in the other room and look it up on the computer? No.
No. I mean, that's the thing where it's like you either got to be able to play it on the phone and fling it, like I said, to your TV. Cast it to your TV.
Oh, yeah. What if well, that's a whole nother thing. Yeah. How do I get it to go from my mobile to then my screen?
That's got to be a Chromecast solution. I mean, come on.
Right?
That's their product. It's got to be. It's got to be. Just
disrupting. It's definitely disrupting my day right now, currently.
Your day has currently been disrupted by this story. And with that, I believe this brings us to the end of episode 3.
Too soon.
I'd like your live feedback. Yours, Chris. How did this episode go for you?
Like a 2 of 10.
2 of 10? Oh
is that low?
God, that's too
that feels
low.
low.
You can't. We edit this. We gotta edit this part out. You can't say that on the air. Oh my God! 2 of 10. You're a real curmudgeon.
But I'm disrupting, right? I'm disrupting.
Oh God! I think there was an Onion article when South by was here about the word disrupting has been used like 450 times in the first hour of South by Southwest.
When does disrupting just become expensive trolling?
When does disrupting just become annoying? I don't know. I don't know the answers to any of these things, but I do know that this does bring us officially to the end of this 2 out of 10 episode, which is actually episode 3.
Oh, sorry, I gave it a 3 out of 10 then.
Oh, thank you. Earned a star there at the end. I knew he'd come around. I knew it. So again, please subscribe, like, comment on whatever platform you are on. Also, we did not do a hashtag Ask Tricycle this week, but we will have more of those to come. So please, if you have a question, send it to us on all the socials. We are at Hello Tricycle, or use the hashtag Ask Tricycle, and we will see you very soon. Keep pedaling. See you out there.
Thanks for listening to Tripod. For show notes and bonus content, go to tricycle-creative.com/tripod. Connect with Tricycle Creative on Facebook and Instagram at Hello Tricycle. Connect with Ross at Ross Hero. Connect with Chris on Instagram at Ruthless Chris Steakhouse.